Hi, this is Shadow Coast and welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be reviewing and discussing the most recent video that released actual gameplay footage of Necromunda Underhive Wars. Before we jump into gameplay details, I am trying to grow my channel and appreciate a subscribe and thumbs up if you find this video interesting or helpful. In the description below, you'll find links to the various sources I reviewed before producing this video, as well as timestamps so you can jump to specific chapters of the video. Finally, at the end, I'll let the full video play with original commentary for your reference. To begin with, Necromunda Underhive Wars is a tactical turn-based RPG that is set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. In the game, we'll be able to recruit our gang and battle rival gangs throughout the Underhive. The game will contain 3 different game modes. The first consists of a main storyline campaign involving 15 missions, an operations game mode that provides an endless gameplay loop, and a multiplayer online mode that allows for both competitive and casual play. We'll be reviewing gameplay as we'll see snippets from various game modes, but we'll do our best to avoid any spoilers throughout the video and commentary. Now to jump into the gameplay video, where we start with an operations mode overview. To begin with, we need to select a house. In this case, House Goliath is selected. Next, we select our leader. In this case, they selected a heavy melee fighter, Brawler class leader. This fits nicely given that Goliaths favor close-range weapons and are focused on that melee brutality. It also plays to the house's strength. Next, we see that we need to recruit fighters to our gang. Interesting here is that we can hire more experienced fighters, although they do cost more credits. For example, we see that a green Juve only costs 150 credits, while a competent Juve with 500 experience is 350 credits, and a top Juve with 950 experience points costs 700 credits. One item of interest to note is that the higher level gangers not only cost more, but they also might have more injuries or historical personality traits that we will have to contend with, making it a potential risky proposition to hire in the most experienced fighters. I like this mechanic as it provides the ability to gain those more experienced fighters, but it also forces us to roll the dice where we could inherit some risky, heavily injured fighters. Hiring additional gangers also increases our infamy, which we'll discuss later. After selecting a new ganger, we can pick a trait from 3 different trees: Athletic, Curious, and Protean. We see that Athletic has additional options within that section, such as Resilient, which provides additional toughness and it increases our max toughness for that fighter. We next choose one of 5 career paths, which we'll outline in these different images. To begin with, we have Deadeye. True to the name, we can see that this class is focused on longer range or range weapons. Next, we have Brawler, which, no surprise, favors that close melee combat mechanics. Next, we have Heavy, which focuses on those heavy weapons, which can provide devastating damage, although I would imagine that depending on the weapon we're carrying, that will impact our movement points. We then have Saboteur, which will be an interesting character or class to play as it looks like it has various utilities and might allow us to take advantage of specific things depending on the map we're playing in, as we've seen in some of the other videos. And finally, we have Lay Mechanic, which has a myriad of abilities. Each class has a signature skill, unique perks, and provides bonus stats. Lay Mechanic, for example, provides bonus stats to intelligence, strength, and melee prowess. Next, we have to assign available experience points. Now, experience can be used not only to upgrade different stats, but also purchase various skills, both passive and active. There are 9 stats, and each stat impacts a substat, as we can see in the screen or video. Also, each rank up for our gangers provides passive stats. For example, we see that Competent Juve level 2 provides a reduction of 5 action points to kneel and provides 1 additional active and 1 additional passive skill slot. Now, active and passive skills also cost experience to purchase, so we'll have to balance leveling up stats versus saving experience to spend on active or passive skills. Furthermore, skills are based on rank, class, and house. And finally, the same skill can be upgraded up to 3 times using additional XP. We see an example of Hydraulic Slam that reduces the AP cost to use through each upgrade for that specific skill. However, those upgraded skills, so level 2 of that skill or level 3 of that skill, requires associated stats to be able to do. So there's a nice interplay here. Gangers can also develop talents, vices, and virtues as they rank up, making them truly unique characters to play with. I really like what they've done with this mechanic so far, and it really truly appears that they are taking Mordheim to a much higher level. Circling back to credits, they can also be spent at the shop to purchase armor, weapons, and other items such as traps, grenades, and other consumable items. We can also purchase gambling caskets, which provide various items within each casket. Luckily, the devs do clarify that these are not purchasable with real money, and they have reconfirmed and reiterated that there will be no microtransactions. So I'm holding them to that. Now we move into starting operations. We start by selecting a sector, which determines our starting difficulty. Each sector also has a specific goal to complete with unique rewards and tasks. We can spend infamy points on unique upgrades that are faction-wide and that entail gaining additional XP or loot or other items. We can also select facilities to start off with that can provide specific bonuses depending on what we ultimately choose. After we select a sector, a mission map will appear where we can select a mission. The missions are fixed and all gangs in the area have to select a mission per shift. Hypothetically, if we are the only gang to select a mission, we would automatically win that mission and the associated awards, which we can see in this video. Now, selecting missions occurs in shifts like I mentioned, and each shift we can select one mission. In the example, the first mission did not have a competing gang, so we automatically receive the mission rewards and experience for our fighters that we deployed. In this second, we end up encountering an enemy gang. Now we get to see actual combat gameplay, which is pulled from Mission 6 of the main storyline campaign. Don't worry, there shouldn't be any spoilers here. To start, we have favorable positioning and are overlooking a competing gangs duking it out below. There are a few different objectives here where we want to kill an enemy gang leader as well as turn off a door where Goliath will just keep popping out from. We are playing as House Escher. As we can see, in one turn we run into several mines which is not only lock in our movement we've selected, but also causes us damage. After making it through, we can zip line across and hop over to a platform where we hit 2 enemies with a flamer. We follow up with a cryoblast. Now this will be interesting because I believe there will be different status effects which will have a nice interplay with synergizing different weapons. To be honest, I am a little confused as to why we would hit 2 enemies with a flamethrower and then cool them off with a cryoblast. I'll be interested to see if this has a unique interplay of debuffs, although I'm a little confused. I'd imagine we'd want to let them burn. Now we attempt to finish off an enemy ganger with our leader, who is kitted out as a sniper. Unfortunately, things don't go quite our way, and he manages to survive with a little bit of health left. Of course, he tries to retaliate, and luckily for our specific ganger who tends to be agile, we see that we're able to dodge a fair amount of damage from that heavy. Now, while we watch this gameplay, there are a few interesting things, right? We see abilities like aim shot or skills like that, which will allow us to target specific body parts or armor. This will become critical, as outlined in previous dev posts, that there will be specific weaknesses or targeted areas that might not be covered by armor and more susceptible to certain types of damage. So we'll be wanting to make sure that every move we make is well thought out and that we're taking advantages of any discernible weaknesses of our enemies. If I take a step back and watch this video, I am extremely excited as I do see a lot of opportunity. To start with, There's a lot of attention to customization, which I know they keep reiterating, and for many people, that might not matter as much. For me, I like customization of aesthetics, but more importantly, I like customization of loadouts. I like the ability to have multiple stats interplaying with substats, interplaying with skills, interplaying with house perks, interplaying with class levels. All of this will allow me to customize to my exact gameplay. I tend to favor snipers, although I have a feeling to be successful, we're going to need a mix of ranged and melee gangers to pull off the different missions as well as be successful in operations. The second thing I would say is that I was very skeptical as to the talk about verticality. Watching some of this gameplay, I understand how that works. We see gangers jumping from different platforms, rappelling down, leveraging zip lines to cross over to different platforms, taking elevators up and down. So it makes sense that verticality will be critical, and I would imagine the perks of being higher, having a higher elevation, will play an integral role throughout the Underhive. It also makes contextual sense as the Underhive is literally built on top of each other, right? So we're going to have a lot of different planes. Third, the game just looks awesome. I was a little bit concerned about the graphics, and I will probably hold final judgment until the game's out to see what my computer can handle. But the game just looks a lot more crisp and nicer than Mordheim, which I had a few problems with. Now, I don't know if that's for my gaming rig, which is built in end of 2018, so I have fairly good technology in there. But for whatever reason, Mordheim, I just didn't like the look as much as I'm liking what I'm seeing in Necromunda. Finally, I do like how it does seem that missions have true variability. In Mission 6, they outline that you're competing against multiple objectives, killing an enemy ganger lead, making sure you're closing a door to prevent any enemy reinforcements from approaching. That seems like it has a lot of promise. Now, as excited as I am, I wholly acknowledge that these videos are purely generated to create excitement and discussion, which it's doing. There are a few areas I am a little bit concerned on, and that's more from the fact that I don't have information yet, and will have to probably see this in actual play once the game release. First, I am a little concerned around operations. Will it truly provide an endless play loop, or are there only, 6 different missions that we keep selecting over and over again? I'd like to see the variability of the missions and options in operations, because if this game plays and looks like I think it will, I will be spending tens, if not potentially thousands of hours in this game. The other concern I have is the tactical map and interplay. I'll post a specific video outlining the tactical map and my thoughts on that, but I'm still not quite sure if it fits with the look and feel of everything else they've done, although it will be extremely critical to make and plan our moves and be successful. Now, regardless of some of these reservations, I am extremely excited and cannot wait to get my hands on the game in roughly 6 days here. Thanks so much for watching, and appreciate a thumbs up and a sub if you enjoy this video. We hope to see you in future videos. Now to let the original video play.
Welcome to Necromunda Underhive Wars, a tactical RPG set in a sprawling hive city, deep into the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. Pick a house, recruit a gang, and vie for control of the Underhive. Our first priority is to build a gang for use in several of the game's modes, starting with Operations. Operations depict the ever-sprawling war for the Underhive between the various gangs of House Escher, Goliath, and Orlok, as they fight each other and among themselves for power, control, resources, and glory. We've chosen a Goliath gang and picked our leader, a heavy melee fighter of the Brawler class. Now we need to hire some members, picking their experience level, class, starting traits, as well as name, gender, and looks. The higher their rank, the more XP they start with, and the more expensive they are to hire. They also have more past injuries and boons that they may be dealing with. These hires also gain us infamy points as the size and legend of our gang grows. We'll discuss what you do with those in a few minutes. The individual appearance of every fighter can be completely customized with dozens of different cosmetic options across their entire body, as well as a vast selection of color schemes. If you find a style you like, you can easily apply it across your entire gang. Whether you individualize every member of your gang to their specific personality, or you have a broad gang style, is up to you, and the possibilities are endless. Our lay mechanic started with quite a lot of banked XP, so we can make some decisions about how to level him. We've equipped him with melee weapons, and we'll take the support and trickster class down a close combat focused path as we specialize our gang into brutal hand-to-hand engagements. Every rank up gives some passive bonuses, as well as unlocking active and passive skills, which cost further XP to activate, contributing to more rank ups. After we upgrade some initial stats, we're then going to start picking skills that best fit our intended role. Active and passive skills are greatly varied and are based on rank, class, and house. They can also be upgraded up to 3 times to specialize further with higher stat requirements as they increase. As your fighters rank up, they may also develop talents, vices, and virtues, becoming their own character and making them unique in unexpected ways. This is on top of any injuries or death they may receive from being knocked out of action in combat. Credits can also be spent in the shop for items. Consumables, traps, grenades, armor, and of course, weapons. The Underhive Wars armory features flamethrowers, cryoguns, bolters, swords, massive axes, the list goes on. Finally, you can spend your credits on gambling caskets. Caskets are also received as rewards from matches in the Underhive, or can be found in the field. To be clear, in-game credits or caskets will never be offered for real money, and this is not and will not be a microtransaction system. Money is valuable in the Underhive, but not so much as blood and violence. Having purchased some gear, leveled up our gang, and customized them, we're ready to begin operations. The first phase of this is picking a sector. These come in various difficulties, decided by how many enemy gangs there are and their ratings. Essentially a power level based on their available gear, level of their gangers, and so on. Each sector also has a specific goal to complete, and its own set of rewards and tasks. Beginning an operation means choosing your facilities and spending infamy points on unique upgrades. These are gang-wide and usually focus on additional credit, XP, or loot gains. There's a massive selection, so as your infamy increases from battles and hiring, find your preferred combos for your gang. Once you're inside a sector, a mission map will appear. Here you can choose where in the sector you will go to gather resources, fight for glory, or otherwise build your gang and destroy your enemies. In this first case, our chosen target does not have any rival gangs present during this shift, so we collect the loot and go on our way, gaining a moderate amount of XP for our fighters. On the next shift, we encounter an Orlok gang, and so a fight will begin, but not in this video. We also have skirmish mode, where you can make multi or single player games to your specifications using our wide selection of maps and game modes. Choose enemies and their rating, determine teams, and decide whether the battle will have lasting effects or not. Fight your friends to prove who is better, or team up against the AI for a classic comp stomp. That's just one way to play Necromunda Underhive Wars. We also have a sprawling 15-mission campaign mode tracking the fates of 3 gangs as they dive deep on the hunt for ancient secrets. The following gameplay is taken from Mission 6 of the campaign, featuring the Escher gang, the Bane Cats, led by the brutal and intelligent Tesser. The battle begins with our fierce female fighters deployed out of the way on a gantry overlooking an ongoing battle. The Orlok and Goliath gangs we're here to take this encampment from, the Chokers and Dog Soldiers respectively, are already duking out below and haven't had the time to look up and see us bearing down on them. Assuming we can stop running into these corrosive mines, our elevated position is extremely valuable. Damage and resistance bonuses apply to any combat against foes that are below you. There are also specific sets of skills that can be only used from up high. However, our close-range specialist Flamer and Cryo wielders can deal with enemies that find themselves approaching our level. Tessera, the gang leader and crack shot, can start to snipe off enemies wounded by her sisters. Aim shots, such as this, allow for specific targeting of body parts. Choose ones with less armor or that are more exposed from cover. One of the special conditions of this mission is that Goliath reinforcements are constantly arriving through this door. We have to get to it and shut it down as one of our objectives, preferably before we're overwhelmed. This Orlok, having survived our assault, goes for his revenge, but it won't last long. He's spending a lot of AP on one devastating attack rather than spreading his damage. Probably the best bet in this scenario, since he's likely dead either way. That's him dealt with on our turn, meaning the platform is now ours. One of our other targets, the Orlok leader Zekken, is trying to retake the platform. We'll have to deal with him and use our heavy to move around the battlefield and shoot him in the head. A good solution to most problems in the Underhive. The advantage gained, we can turn the tables on him from the platform. Zekken will be taken out by our final gang member with some long-range shots. Kira is in a good position to make a dash for the door on our next turn. We can then escape back up to the elevator and heal with a special ability. With further incursions onto the upper levels, it's time to show the Orloks why you should never let an Escher, particularly Tessera, close. Swapping weapons in combat is easy and costs minimal AP, making it a key strategy if your fighters are built in a way to take advantage of it. Supporting melee fighters with ranged allies, just like this, is also key. As the fight continues, Kira is in a great spot to toss grenades into the scramble below her. With the Orlok leader dead and the Goliath spewing door locked, cleaning up stragglers is the name of the game. With a more mobile force already on the high ground, the Orloks and Goliaths are easy pickings. This was just a taste of everything Necromunda Underhive Wars has to offer when it releases on September 8th. Another 14 missions, infinitely more ways to design and build your own gang, and much more.